And unfortunately, I am with the majority here who thought that it wasn't the greatest game. Like, there wasn't that much effort that was shown on the court. This WNBA All-Star Weekend was my first in person. I felt like the players were so excited and happy to be there. They just didn't put that much effort on the court. And I also have to admit that I left during the third quarter. I just kind of couldn't take it anymore.
An abomination to the sport of
Kelsey Plum just blew up the WNBA All-Star Game with a single petty comment. In a press conference that was supposed to be about player unity, she publicly called out Caitlyn Clark and her entire team for skipping a meeting. But she made one fatal error. She delivered this unprovoked attack while sitting right next to Sabrina Ionescu, Clark's fiercest ally. Ionescu's reaction was instant, iconic, and it exposed a shocking civil war raging inside the league. A war fueled by jealousy that threatens to burn the WNBA to the ground just as it's finally starting to catch fire.
Powerful moment. We didn't, at least as players, we didn't know that was going to happen. So I think it was kind of like a genuine surprise, but the t-shirt, just united front was determined this morning, that we had a meeting for. And, not to tattletale, but 0 members of Team Clark were very present for that.
The stage was meticulously set for solidarity. WNBA players walked onto the court for the All-Star Game wearing bold black t-shirts with a simple, powerful message: pay us what you owe us. It was a united front, a carefully orchestrated visual meant to project strength and togetherness amid ongoing high-stakes negotiations for a new collective bargaining agreement. But that unity was a fragile facade, and it was about to be shattered in the most public way imaginable.
Kelsey Plum was at the All-Star Game in Indianapolis. She made quite a scene, bruh. This time, at the conclusion of the game, I was one of the first people to break the story about her actually making comments about Caitlyn Clark's team not being at this meeting for the CBA negotiations. Now, we know the WNBA All-Stars came out with these t-shirts, pay us what you owe us.
During the post-game press conference, Las Vegas Aces star Kelsey Plum took her seat at the podium and completely hijacked the narrative. After briefly recapping the morning meeting where the t-shirt idea was born, she dropped a grenade into the room. With a smirk, she leaned into the microphone and said, not to tattletale, but 0 members of Team Clark were very present for that. The air was instantly sucked out of the room. The statement wasn't just shade, it was a direct, calculated shot at the league's biggest draw, Caitlyn Clark, and her teammates, painting them as uninvested in the collective fight.
Aneka Agumike, Women's National Basketball Players Association president. Brianna Stewart, vice president. And Nafisa Collier. All on opposing teams from Team Clark. How does it work out that the 3 biggest players in the Players Association had an idea about wearing a pay us what you owe us t-shirt, make this decision last minute that this is what the players will do? Team Clark somehow isn't present in the meeting that this will take place. You're telling
The disrespect was made infinitely more shocking by who was sitting just inches away from Kelsey Plum. It was Sabrina Ionescu, an actual member of Team Clark and one of Caitlyn's most loyal and vocal supporters. The jab wasn't just aimed at an absent player, it was delivered right to the face of her friend and ally. Ionescu's reaction was instant, visceral, and iconic. She couldn't hide her utter disbelief, shooting Plum a look that screamed betrayal before rolling her eyes in a gesture of pure disgust that was seen around the world.
I think it was kind of like a genuine surprise, but the t-shirt, just united front was determined this morning, that we had a meeting for. And, not to tattletale, but 0 members of Team Clark were very present for that. But no, we were just, we had a very,
that really needed to be mentioned.
I'm trying to make a situation light.
As Plum tried to awkwardly laugh off the tension she had created, Ionescu leaned into her own microphone. She didn't yell or argue. She fired back with surgical, sarcastic precision. That really needed to be mentioned. The tension was thick enough to cut with a knife. In that single moment, Ionescu didn't just defend her teammate, she masterfully exposed Plum's comments for what they were: petty, divisive, and wildly unprofessional.
WNBA players, they get more unlikable every day. And the blatant jealousy, the blatant hatred towards Caitlyn Clark is, I mean, it's obvious. They don't even try to hide it. We got Kelsey Plum talking about these pathetic shirts that they wore out onto the court. And I'm going to tell you, these players all put these shirts on. And like I said in a couple of previous videos, that backfired.
To understand why Plum's comment was not just petty, but monumentally self-destructive, you only need to follow the money. The WNBA is a business, and no player in its history has impacted the bottom line like Caitlyn Clark. The second the league announced that Clark would miss the All-Star game with a groin injury, the event's financial value plummeted. The receipts are undeniable and brutal.
Caitlyn Clark, she was officially ruled out before all of these things, and look at the news that dropped. This is wild. WNBA All-Star Weekend. It's supposed to be the star of all stars. All the big dogs is out. Asia Wilson, Sabrina Ionescu, Brianna Stewart, everybody's out. The big dogs are out. You got the rookie, you got Angel Reese, Miss Me Too. All of the stars are here. And look at this news. The get-in price for the WNBA All-Star Game in Indianapolis has dropped 48% from $121 to just $64 after news broke that Caitlyn Clark won't be playing.
Before the news, the average ticket price to get into the arena was $121. Within 24 hours of Clark being ruled out, that price collapsed to just $64. That's a staggering 48% plunge in value practically overnight. This wasn't a minor dip. It was a full-blown market crash triggered by the absence of a single player. The message from fans was crystal clear. Without Caitlyn Clark, the All-Star Game simply wasn't worth the price of admission.
Well, would you look at that? Prices for the WNBA All-Star Game have plummeted 49% after Caitlyn Clark was ruled out due to injury, per TickPick. I can't say that I'm surprised by this at all. I mean, no matter how much you love her or hate her, Caitlyn Clark is the face of the WNBA. When she goes, the ratings go. Simply put.
The financial bleeding didn't stop at the arena doors. The television ratings tell an even more devastating story about Clark's outsized importance to the league's survival and growth. Nationally televised WNBA games that don't feature Caitlyn Clark suffer a viewership drop of a catastrophic 55%. Her own team, the Indiana Fever, sees its national audience cut in half when she's not on a court, falling from an incredible average of 1.81 million viewers to just 847,000. These aren't just statistics. They are irrefutable proof that Caitlyn Clark is the league's economy right now.
Last and latest being this viral Kelsey Plum dig, if you will. And I was in the room for this. It did strike me as very odd in the moment when she said what she said. I wrote it off as kind of awkward, but let me play it for you again, and then I'll respond after the fact. This is what Kelsey Plum said about the t-shirts, and you can, Sabrina Ionescu's reaction kind of said it.
In stark contrast, her return game against the New York Liberty pulled in 2.2 million viewers, peaking at an astonishing 2.8 million. She's not just another player. She is a one-woman media empire. And the fact that some of her colleagues seem to resent her for this success, even as they benefit from the revenue she generates, is the central conflict threatening the league's future.
And guess who had to pull up to the Nike party? None other than Sabrina Ionescu. None other than Kelsey Plum. My bad, y'all. None other than Kelsey Plum, bruh. Caitlyn Clark commented on her picture. Thank you for the Nike ad. What a weekend.
Caitlyn Clark could have ignored the disrespect. She could have let Ionescu's powerful public defense be the final word, but she didn't. Instead, she waited patiently for the perfect moment to deliver a strategic checkmate.
Your league lost money last year. It's lost money for what, 28 years now, 27 years, 26 years, however long, it ain't never turned a profit. Again, they're about to make more money. They are. The media rights deal, which is where all the money is about to push salaries higher. All right? I think what a lot of people really are sick of is they're sick of the activism part of it, which is what the other night was. Let's go out and show solidarity in protest kind of crap. And sports fans are like, oh, I'm here for the freaking All-Star game, if you want to call it that. I mean,
a few days after the All-Star game, Kelsey Plum posted a series of photos from the weekend on her Instagram. In one of them, Plum, who is famously one of Under Armour's flagship athletes, was posing conspicuously in front of a giant Nike logo. Clark saw her opening. She slid into the comments and left a 6-word masterpiece of passive aggression. Thank you for the Nike ad. The brilliance of the response was staggering. It was subtle enough to seem playful to the casual observer, but sharp enough to expose Plum's hypocrisy to everyone who was paying attention. Here was a player taking shots at Clark while accidentally giving free promotion to the multi-million-dollar brand that sponsors Clark. It was a silent, surgical strike that proved Clark operates on a completely different level of strategic thinking than her petty rivals.
Definitely awkward what Kelsey Plum said. I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt and that she was attempting to have some trash talk there. She had taken a shot at Team Caitlyn Clark and how much better Team Collier was earlier in the game and not associate that directly with Caitlyn Clark. One, because of, the delivery and the awkwardness involved there and her saying she's trying to lighten the mood. So I think that's what that was supposed to be, but it was completely unnecessary, didn't need to be said, and certainly putting it out there publicly doesn't help anyone.
This press conference incident wasn't an isolated event. It was a symptom of a much larger unspoken war being waged within the WNBA, a disturbing pattern of veteran players going out of their way to diminish Caitlyn Clark's unprecedented contributions. Despite Clark bringing a tidal wave of revenue, media attention, and sold-out arenas to a league that has historically struggled for mainstream relevance, certain players seem more interested in tearing her down than celebrating the phenomenon. The irony is almost too much to bear. These are the very same players demanding higher salaries and better benefits through their "Pay Us What You Owe Us" campaign, while simultaneously attacking the person whose magnetic popularity is making those demands a realistic possibility for the first time ever. They are complaining about the golden goose while demanding more golden eggs, seemingly blind to the fact that their jealousy and pettiness are actively harming the entire sport.
For the people who don't believe in the CC effect, my precious CC, y'all ticket sales went from $262 to $121 to $64 to get in at the door. That is horrible. It decreased by 48%. You hear me? That is wild. So for all the ones who be hating on my precious CC, understand the Caitlyn Clark effect is real. The CC effect is real. My precious CC is real. You hear me? Y'all need to put some respect on her name. That's wild, huh? We only wanted to see my precious CC, not nobody else, as the temptation.
This entire saga perfectly illustrates the difference between a bitter veteran and a true leader. While Kelsey Plum was throwing unnecessary jabs and creating division at a press conference, Sabrina Ionescu was proving why she is so deeply respected throughout the world of basketball. Her support for Clark goes far beyond a single sarcastic comment. Ionescu has consistently praised Clark's transformational impact, mentored her through injury struggles, and publicly defended her against the constant noise. She understands a fundamental business principle that seems lost on others. A rising tide lifts all boats. Ionescu recognizes that Clark's celebrity doesn't diminish other players, it elevates the entire league, creating more opportunities, bigger sponsorship deals, and greater media coverage for everyone involved. Her leadership isn't just about protecting a friend, it's about protecting the league's best interests from those who can't see past their own pride.
And I'm pretty sure Kelsey Plum did reply to this. Oh, no, she didn't. Kelsey Plum did not reply. So CC definitely fired back, man. So, a lot of posts is coming from this weekend. This is another post. So here you go, Kelsey Mitchell. Kelsey Plum. So Kelsey Plum let it be known she's with Under Armour. Thank you to my Under Armour team for making Plumberry come to life. That is funny, bro. That is funny.
Let's go back to those t-shirts. Pay us what you owe us. The timing of this entire feud couldn't be worse for the players demanding more money. The WNBA is on the verge of negotiating a new media rights deal, which is where the life-changing money for players will come from. That deal's value isn't based on past performance, it's based on future potential. And right now, that potential is almost entirely tied to the Caitlyn Clark effect. Networks aren't just buying WNBA games, they're buying access to Clark's massive, loyal audience. So when veterans attack the very star who is single-handedly driving up their league's market value, it's not just unprofessional, it's an act of financial self-sabotage. It's like the employees of a tech startup publicly trashing their lead inventor right before a crucial meeting with investors. It sends a message of instability and chaos, potentially costing everyone millions.
But what if this isn't just about simple jealousy? There's a more controversial and strangely brilliant theory at play. What if this constant negativity is actually good for business? Every great story needs a villain. Sports history is built on iconic rivalries. Magic versus Bird, Ali versus Frazier. These conflicts create drama, give fans a reason to care, and drive endless media coverage. By constantly taking shots at Clark, players like Plum are inadvertently casting themselves as the heels of the WNBA. They are the antagonists that fans love to hate. In turn, Caitlyn Clark becomes the conquering hero, the face of the league who overcomes adversity. This dynamic is a content goldmine. It fuels debate shows, social media arguments, and gets more eyes on the product than a simple everyone is friends narrative ever could. The question is, are these players smart enough to be doing this on purpose, or are they just accidentally creating the most profitable storyline in women's sports history? Ultimately, this public conflict reveals a league at a crossroads. It's a battle for the soul and future of the WNBA. Will it be a league that celebrates its transcendent superstars, embraces its explosive growth, and builds a culture of professionalism strong enough to secure its future? Or will it allow itself to be defined by internal jealousy and self-sabotage, alienating the millions of new fans it so desperately needs to survive and thrive? The answer lies in the actions of its players. Caitlyn Clark continues to handle the immense pressure with grace, letting her record-breaking performance and clever comebacks do the talking. And in Sabrina Ionescu, the league has a model for what real leadership looks like. She understands that champions don't tear each other down, they push each other to be better. And as the drama continues to swirl, one thing is certain. The queen doesn't need to fight her own battles. She has loyal allies to handle the pettiness while she focuses on what truly matters, changing the game for everyone.